I was right. I was also wrong, but I was also right. This is so good. No one is more upset about this news than I am. What? This is a good visual representation of my week. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lexa, and today I am so excited because we are going to start the reading vlog for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Why do I feel like whatever I just said was not correct? I have been reading so much fantasy lately, which I truly love, but the last few books that I've read have just kind of sucked the energy out of me. So I thought that this would be the perfect time to start this series. Now, here's the thing, is that according to Goodreads and iTunes, pulled that right out of like the 2008 vault. According to Goodreads and Audible, I've read this book. According to my mind, I don't know who I was when I read it, but I'm not that same person anymore. This is a YA murder mystery thriller-esque series where we're following Andy Bell, who is our main character. No, Andy Bell was the one who was murdered. Pip is our main character. Listen, are any of us surprised that I don't know what this book is about or the main characters, despite the fact that apparently I've read it and I have read the synopsis? No. I have something in my eye. This is like my worst fear. Eyes freak me out. I hate the idea of having something in my eye. One time I got a bug in my eye, which combined my two worst fears of things getting into my eye and flying insects. Back to what we are all here for. In A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, we are following Pip, who for her senior year project wants to kind of reopen and restudy this like very popular, I say popular, but like very well-known case in her town of Andy Bell, who was a senior whenever she was murdered by her high school boyfriend, Saul Singh. But Pip ends up stumbling into some pieces of evidence that makes her think that maybe Saul is actually innocent. And so she wants to take this case on for herself and figure out what really happened, prove his innocence if he is innocent, or prove that he did it if he's not. The TikTok girlies rave about this one, and I am just so ready to dive into it. It is a Sunday afternoon, it is rainy and gross outside, and all I want to do is just curl up on the couch and read this book. So that is what I'm going to do.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Between these three books, we've got a lot of mystery to unfold, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, I was just hopping on Audible to listen to a sample of this so that I could see, to like make sure I pronounced everyone's names right. And the audiobook was so good that I just used one of my credits to buy it. We have a lot of mixed media in here, which I love. We have interviews, text messages, her like journal of everything that she's writing down with all of her evidence. And that's literally just within the first 15 pages. And it's so cool because on the audiobook, I'm so glad that I started listening to this early on because I just feel like it's gonna add to the experience. There's like sound effects to make it feel even more real.
Transcript of interview with Angela Johnson from the Missing Persons Bureau.
Hello.
Hi, is this Angela Johnson?
Speaking. Yep. Is this Pippa?
Yes. Thanks so much for replying to my email.
I just had to share because if you're someone who gets as psyched about good quality audiobooks as I do, I thought that you would want to know how cool this is. So this starts off with Pip's senior capstone project proposal. And let me tell you, in this, her teacher's response is literally, okay, but this is a touchy subject. You better not make any contact with the family or this is going to be considered an ethical violation and cut me off. So of course, what is the first thing that Pip goes and does? Goes and knocks on their house and asks to interview the brother. She is not fucking around, okay? She is here to get answers. So the story around town of what happened to Andy Bell is that her brother, Sal, I think I called him Saul in the intro. This is why I got the audiobook. It's Sal. Unalived her and then unalived himself. But Pip thinks that there's more to the story and she doesn't think that that's actually what happened. So even though she is phrasing her capstone project as just kind of trying to evaluate like what happened and look more into it, really what she's trying to do is prove that he's innocent. And we're starting to get the like beginnings of the case and kind of why she thinks that, why there were a lot of pieces missing, and how ultimately there was really no trial or anything. It was just kind of assumed that because of the circumstantial evidence and what the police could come up with, even though they didn't find her body, they just kind of assumed that Sal did it. I'm already feeling like this is going to be such an easy book to fly through because we got short chapters, we've got tons of different mixed media, and let me look up and see who is doing the audiobook. So there's like a full cast for the audiobook, but the main person is Bailey Carr. She's awesome. We have Pip and her family and friends, and then we have Andy, who was the victim, and her family and friends. And this is definitely set up in a way where you're like, something suspicious is going on here. And I don't think that what everyone thinks happened actually happened.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
So I'm excited because we have got a lot to uncover. Oh my god. I kept referring to Sal as her brother. Sal was her boyfriend. This is what happens when I try to explain people and plots. Pip, our main character who is trying to figure out exactly what happened, is interviewing Andy's brother.
This situation is not correct.
I can't believe that I kept calling Sal her brother. It's Sal's brother she's interviewing. Could I have given a worse description and confused all of us any more about the plot of this book? Not even if I tried. So in Pip's defense, she did not go up to the door of Andy's family. She went up to the door of Sal's family. I would also say that constitutes an ethical violation according to the guidelines that her teacher set, but at least she does get that pass. Oh my god. If there's one thing Pip is gonna do, it is blur ethical boundaries to get to the truth. And if there's one thing I'm going to do, it is suspect everyone. I kind of think maybe I know what the plot twist is, but I don't know how this is gonna end. Like, I don't know if we're gonna find out the whole mystery of like who murdered Andy, if Andy is actually dead, if Sal was actually guilty or not, anything that happened by the end of this book. And then the other two follow a different mystery or follow something else, or if like this is the main mystery we're following the whole time. I will say this is definitely more of a mystery book than a thriller book thus far. We've had a few little tension, suspenseful moments, but mainly it's been really just piecing together all of the pieces of information and evidence that Pip is collecting. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention, this is gonna be spoiler free. So like, even if I have my guesses or stuff, like I don't wanna spoil anything for anyone, so rest easy. I'm at around the halfway point. We know that someone clearly doesn't want Pip looking into this and is bothered by her kind of reopening up everything. But let me tell you, our girl Pip, she is willing to make some bold decisions to get to the bottom of all of this.
We're like 6 blocks from the guy we're stalking.
No, you shouldn't tell me that.
It's clear that she's got some bias. She doesn't want Sal to be guilty. However, it's also pretty clear that like, no matter what actually happened, the police really fucked up here, and that there clearly was and still is a lot of racial bias when it comes to like everyone, like the townspeople, some of the journalists, some of the police. So honestly, it's probably good that she's biased for him because so many people are biased against him automatically just based on the fact that he's Indian. And I can't speak to the quality of the representation, but I can say that we are having a lot of really good conversations about racial biases, and especially in regards to when it comes to working with the police and investigations in the public's opinions of people and the conclusions that they'll draw for people of color versus white people. And especially how people talk about people of color versus white people whenever we're talking about like true crime cases. She brings that up pretty early on in an interview that she's having with a journalist who you can tell was very racist. And the way that he was talking about Sal was like, he didn't use the word like allegedly, like he was guilty, he was a murderer, and he says some really disgusting stuff, but then she calls him out for it and she's like, hey, it's really interesting to me that like the language that you're using for Sal in your journal articles versus the language that you're using for like this other guy who we know killed like these 5 women, and you talk about him like he was just like a love-struck man who lost his way when that guy was white. So I'm really glad that we're having these conversations because this is something that I find with mystery books a lot, mainly with like cozy mysteries, when we have like the perspective of the police or they're working with the police, and a lot of times that's kind of like glazed over, and I am not a fan of that. So I'm glad that she is talking about that, and she is making a point to point out how prevalent racial bias is, especially in journalism and in small towns and what they think about people, especially when it's small towns that are mainly white people, and also especially when it comes to the police. I'm still loving the audiobook. I am going to, I think, go take a shower, listen to this while I'm in the shower, and just kind of, that's it. Not frustrated at the reveal, I'm just frustrated with the characters. I made my own character map since I kept getting everyone so mixed up. It needed to happen, but there is a nice character map in the book, which I can appreciate, with like who she thinks the main suspects are, or the main like people of interest, people involved in the case, how they're related, what she's found out. I like it. I like it. I just need to know if Holly Jackson is a Pretty Little Liars fan, because Andy is giving me Allison vibes. Like, this whole thing is giving me Allison vibes. I was literally just thinking, if Pretty Little Liars has taught me anything, it's that everyone is guilty. And then if I just keep assuming everyone, then at some point I'm gonna be right. Excuse me? Shit is getting heated. Heated. Everyone is guilty. This town has too many secrets. And you just know that this one is gonna end on a cliffhanger and a plot twist. Good thing I will be reading the other two and I won't have to wait. Oh no, 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 no. Holly, listen. You're not gonna do this to me. Also, I just remembered that yes, this is like my 4th outfit change of the night. I'm in the middle of doing my makeup. What? This is a message for Holly Jackson and Holly Jackson only. I am most displeased. I have not been this invested in a YA mystery ever, ever. Pip, you clever, clever bitch. Do we get a picture of this? No. How rude. Very, very suspicious. I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Crusty, crusty, crusty. I now have this aching need to go rewatch all of Mike's videos on Pretty Little Liars. I've never watched Pretty Little Liars, but I feel like I have because I've rewatched that series of videos so many times. I was right. I was also wrong, but I was also right. We still have a lot of time for shenanigans. Kayla just posted a video. Oh, might have to take a pause. I only have like 40 pages left, but I'm gonna take a quick Wordle, Quirtle, watching Kayla break and then reconvene. Feeling like I might be up for a while. Okay, I got it in 5. This might be an unpopular opinion. Let me know how you approach Wordle. I'm not concerned about getting it in as few attempts as possible. I'm just concerned about having a good time and getting it within the 6. Quirtle did not go as well. I only got 3 of the 4. However, considering where I was at and the fact that I didn't think that I was gonna get any of them at one point, just wasn't meant to be today. Couldn't solve the Quirtle mystery. Did solve the Wordle mystery. Now let's see if we can solve the murder mystery. What? No. Yeah, no shit. Fuck. God. Go Pip. What? When I tell you, I would be fuming. There has been twist upon twist upon twist upon twist. It's not even done yet. Oh my god. Menace behavior. 5 stars. 5 fucking stars. Oh my god. I will be honest with you. I was a little nervous going into this vlog because I kind of stopped reading mystery and thriller books, at least like toward the beginning of this year, because I realized at the end of last year that I read so many and none of them made my top books of the year. None of them. And I was like, why do I keep reading these? Like, if none of them are really sticking with me, and all of them I just felt like so let down by. I've had that history with YA mystery thriller books too. So I was like, I'm a little bit nervous, but I still continuously pick up mystery and thriller books, especially last year, because every once in a while there would be a gem and it would keep me going and hoping that I was gonna find another one. This was fucking incredible. There's no way I read this book before. Absolutely no way, because there's no way that I read this and then didn't remember any of it. The amount of plot twists that are in this book, but it's not unbelievable. They're like all connected. They're all in a sense that like, I guessed a few of them, but then some of them I was like, and that's exactly where I want to be with mystery thriller. I want to have enough clues that like I can piece some things together and I feel like I'm following along and I feel like it's all like the signs were there once you know what it is to kind of look for it, but that there were also so many that were done well that you didn't see coming. I have no words. I truly did not think that this is how this was gonna go. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, like it was good. I had a fun time, something easy to like kind of fly through, especially since I was kind of feeling in the reading rut. There was not a single moment that I was like, I don't really care. I cared the whole time. And for the fact that this wasn't super thrillery, especially there toward like the beginning and middle when we were piecing a lot of things together and learning a lot about what has happened. So for it to keep my attention for that long, it's just like, oh my God. And just when you think that you know everything, Holly throws in another thing. And then when you're like, okay, Holly, okay, I think I've got another. I think I have learned that this is like, this was written as a standalone. So I don't know if going into the next book, if we're following like some of the same characters, but just different mysteries or not. But like you could definitely read this as a standalone and feel good in it. So don't feel like you need to go into this committing to 3 books. You absolutely don't. Like I could stop here and be perfectly happy. And I guess that's like a widely known thing. So I just didn't know that. So let's see, with Good Girl, Bad Blood. Some secrets are too deadly to tell. So we are still following Pip and Ravi. We've got a true crime podcast element, which I guess makes sense with the headphones. I'm not gonna read the whole synopsis because I don't want it to give too much away, but I'm just trying to get our bearings here of like how much I can talk about and what to expect. It seems like Pip has put her amateur sleuthing days behind her. She started this podcast, it went viral, did really well, but she was like, I am out of that game. I have had enough. And to that I would say, absolutely you have. You've been through enough, you've done enough. But then it seems like someone that she knows goes missing. So Pip is back on the case. My guess would be Ravi is probably gonna end up helping her as well. I'm really excited about this, but I'm also really nervous because I'm like, how do you live up to what just happened in that first book? Oliver, it is like 11 o'clock outside. It is 11 o'clock outside and also inside, but we cannot go outside. We can't go for a walk right now. Let's do this. Okay, so we've got a more expanded map of Fairview. The people of Fairview are truly giving the people of Rosewood a run for their money. This town has too much going on. Secrets upon secrets upon secrets upon secrets. The podcast is called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so this is all very meta. The podcast sounds like a real podcast. It even has like a cool little musical jingle intro. We have a court sketch? Wow. Please try to ignore the fact that like, it doesn't make any sense that there's a piece of art in this corner and nothing above my bed. If you're thinking that, you would be correct. That's because this used to be my filming studio, because this was like the smaller bedroom, but I had like it was like this huge room, okay? And I just felt like so much room was being wasted. So I actually moved my filming room into that room that you saw me sitting at like with the desk for most of this video. And this became my bedroom, but I used to have like a little corner filming section there, and I've just yet to take that down because they didn't prime my walls. So like even just running my fingernail across my wall scrapes it. It's really cool. So even though I hung that up with a command strip, the command strip is going to just like, no matter how I try to take it down, it's just gonna remove the paint. So then I'm just gonna be left with like this 2 big white strips of removed paint, and I don't wanna have to deal with that yet. Try to ignore it, or try to just, you know, go with it. I'm such an interior design trendsetter with my fake plant, despite the fact that I own probably thousands of dollars in real plants. Okay, we don't talk about it, it's fine. There already have been some good conversations around Pip wanting to like center the victims and their family and their voices and what they have to say, and getting them involved in the creation of this podcast. And I think that's good and important, and I'm glad that that has been in here. Because listen, as someone who used to consume so much true crime content, and I still will get wrapped up in it, I also can see a lot of the ways that like it wasn't okay, and there were some like ethical lines that were blurred and crossed in the content that I was consuming, and that like true crime podcasts or people who create this kind of content that have good intentions still need to keep in mind that your intentions don't matter as much as your impact, and that on one hand it's really good that we are able to amplify voices that like the media isn't going to amplify, or the media often overlooks, especially brown and black people and indigenous people, and how content creators are able to do that and are able to shed light onto cases that most people might not have ever heard of because they didn't get the time or energy or resources that they should have. But then also keeping in mind that these are people in their lives, and both the victims and then also the people who like are alleged perpetrators. Not that I feel for like the people who actually did these terrible things, but keeping in mind that the way that the system works, there are a lot of people who are innocent who get convicted, and that it's important that people are having conversations and making content in the most ethical way possible that minimizes harm and uplifts the voices that should be uplifted. Okay, this isn't a spoiler because it literally says who goes missing right here on the back of the book. I think we're supposed to know who Jamie is. He's not on my character list that I wrote down, and I have no idea who he is. I was just trying to like go back through and see if it mentioned it in here. He had to have just been like a side character. This is why it's so tricky with me and characters. I'm so bad with names. So we'll see. Oh, hello, Oliver. You came to join us? Like me, my cat likes to be the center of attention. But Dory gets jealous, so sometimes she won't come over here if Oliver is already over here. It has to be that Dory has come to me first, and then he intrudes. Also, I changed back into this sweatshirt, our like 6th outfit change of the vlog so far, even though we're still on the same night, because this one is comfier. So I figured if I was gonna be laying down, This is what I would wear instead. I will update you if I figure out who Jamie is. Or if we are supposed to remember him or not, because I don't know. Who is Jamie though? But who is Jamie? Please, give me some context clues. Help your girl out. The series should just be called Pip Coming In to Save the Day from the Police's Incompetence. I love how we're able to see Pip's progress in like her interview skills, because some of those first interviews were rough. But seeing her interview in this like podcast has been so, like, it's so cool. Like, it feels natural that she's learned skills, and that like as she has interviewed more people and she's been doing this podcast, she's built up those skills and how to feel out the conversation and be respectful, but also ask the important questions and how to keep things succinct and keep people on track. It makes her feel very real. Oliver, do you have any opinions? No comment. I am regretting every decision that led up to me deciding to try to use Dropbox. It has corrupted and lost all of my video footage, all of my iMovie edits. I had one vlog that I spent the whole month filming and editing as I go. I was supposed to upload days ago. I've literally been sitting not being able to use my computer for 2 days because it said that it was like exporting everything and backing everything up, and then it was just like, oh, just kidding. And now I have no idea what's happening. It told me that I tried to just reset it. I was like, fuck it, never mind. Go back to the original. I'll figure out something else to clear up some space. And it's like, okay, we did that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Look at this. I have nothing. And don't be fooled, because if you try to click on any of those that look like they might have something, nothing happens. I'm so pissed because this happened like 2.5 years ago when I tried to use Dropbox. I thought it was just user error, so I followed a different method this time, and this is even worse. Like the last time it just didn't back anything up, but at least like I got to keep everything the same. Like it reverted. This time, try not to cry, because when I'm angry or upset, I cry. I actually came on here to say that might be why I might be done for the night. And I might just go ahead and wait till tomorrow to continue reading. Me and Pete are gonna be spending a lot of time together on chat today. Shout out to Pete. Good morning. I literally just woke up to this computer disaster, so I'm on chat support with Dropbox. But I'm sitting here reading like my book while Pete's just chilling out in the background, helping me out. Someone said, "Is that blackmail?" And our girl Pip said, "No, sir. It's persuasion."
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
There's no such thing as blackmail when it comes to you crusty fucks. This is so good. It has, like, he's supposed to, on her podcast, have his, like, voice. What's it called? I literally just had the word where you disguise, like, a voice. And you can hear it on the audiobook.
We never met. Not in real life.
Right, but what was your first online communication?
I have my account set to private, so and clearly she was local to Fairview because she had photos from around town.
Just so cool. What a good audiobook experience. Honestly, like if I were to pick one or the other, I would tell you to just consume this on audiobook. But yeah, if you had like a long drive, if you're someone who likes to listen to audiobooks while you clean or do other things around the house, this would be so good just on its own. This man said, "What the hell are you doing on your computer with 50,000 files?" I know, okay, you didn't get the easy client today, so sorry. But I am a kind client, so I feel like that hopefully evens out. So I just had to try to explain to this nice chat guy, who we have now been chatting for like 4 hours, that while all of my stuff was downloading, it like pops up a preview of every single file that you have. So we started getting back to like pictures that I took in college and stuff. Like he wasn't snooping or anything, like that's just like the way that this is set up as it's all downloading. And I was like, for your sanity and mine, how do we feel about me just covering that up on the screen while it downloads? Because I cannot be held liable for what I was taking pictures of when I was in college. Pete, if you're out there, I'm so sorry. But I feel like this is the basis of a solid friendship. Oh, also this book is great. We're still going along, piecing everything together. I'm getting through it a lot slower than I normally would, obviously, because I'm doing like 30 things at once. But I am listening to it in between all of these file downloads. My friend Pete, he tried his hardest, still not solved. It's the end of the month. So like I was already on a tight schedule of I have like 3 pieces of content that need to go up at like the end of the month, beginning of the next month. And I don't know where they are. I can't do anything with them. I can't use my iMovie because I don't even know what's happening or where it's pulling files from. So it's just an absolute mess. It's not a big deal. It's just frustrating that I've spent so much time on this. When I knew in my gut told me not to use Dropbox. Moving forward. I feel like our girl Pip is asking some leading questions that might end up biting her in the ass later. Trying to get out of the psychological spiral I have put myself in with this computer situation. So we are plopping. Gonna try a new technique with my hair. I'm still figuring out what works best for my waves, but we'll see about this one. It was already looking a little frizzy, so I don't know how it's gonna work out, but it was really easy. So we'll see. We'll see. Pip is truly putting in the entire amount of work that should be done by the Fairview Police Department. She's got a 3-part search party going on, reenactments. You know it's bad when a teenage girl is more efficient than your entire department. So this is how Oliver wanted to sit. So this is how we're sitting. So after 3 whole days of messing with Dropbox, all I got out of it was losing every single piece of content. So, and I should have just backed it up to a hard drive. Like I knew it, but I didn't want to have to always be working off of a hard drive. I've done that before and it was so annoying. This has just been so exhausting. It's so frustrating. And I'm so sad because I was done. Fuck. One vlog where I read series throughout the whole month of February. It's like the longest running vlog I've ever filmed. I learned some good things. I'm only even functioning because of Apple. Fuck Dropbox. Oh, Pete, you were so kind, and I know that you were in over your head and it's not your fault, but Dropbox itself, if you use iMovie, do not use Dropbox. I wish someone would have told me that. That was the first thing that the very nice person at Apple told me. No one told me that. She said this happens all the time, and she sees it happen a lot with creators. And I'm thankful that I still have some content. It just sucks. Okay, I have to go cancel Dropbox so I never give them a fucking penny of my money. I have to delete almost a terabyte of videos because they're just all corrupted. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Come on. It's just frustrating. In case you're looking for a good mascara to cry in, Essence Lash Princess. It's where it's at. I got it on my fingers. It is gloriously dripping down my face. If you need to stand in a long black robe with an umbrella and big glasses, well, you wouldn't want glasses because you want everyone to see your mascara dripping. As your rich husband unexpectedly dies and you have to stand and mourn at his funeral, bring the eye drops and bring this mascara. Oh no. What is happening? It's so hard to not skip ahead. My eyes. Holy shit. Can't do this to me. I love the conversations we're having in book 2 about how completely fucked the criminal justice system is and how oftentimes white men get away with things even when it's so obvious that they're guilty. And I also, again, something that she's doing so well with Pip's character is balancing noticing when she's wrong and when she's messed up and trying to do things differently and learning from that, but also realizing when she's not wrong, even when other people are telling her that she's wrong, and realizing when she needs to stay true to herself and to trust herself and to trust what she knows to be right, and having conversations about how women are often told to calm down, that they're being irrational, or to not get angry, or to not get loud, and that they just need to accept things the way that they are. I love that we're pushing back against that, and that Pip's learning to push back against that. I only have 100 pages left, so we're getting down to the wire. Also, I washed my hair again because it felt so whatever I did the last time didn't work. It felt so disgusting that I couldn't handle it. So I quickly just dipped my head in the sink and washed it. Now I'm feeling a lot better. I don't think that this is gonna be the main plot twist or anything, but there is one thing in here that I was oh, okay. It seemed to me so obvious. I thought we were supposed to just know, everyone knew. But the more time that's going on, I'm okay, no. Pip doesn't know. But I feel Pip would have put that, I instantly put it together. I thought that they were, the way that it was laid out, I thought it was laying it out to us as oh, here is this connection. But I guess not. I think it's supposed to be a plot twist. So I will say that one's kind of interesting because all of the other ones in the first book, even the like little ones that I guessed, I didn't feel like they were so unbelievably obvious. I feel like they were set up the right amount where you could piece some things together and then there were some things that would just like blow your mind. This one, I'm like, okay, this has been going on for a while and it seems like it's gonna be one of the bigger plot twists and it's a little bit more obvious. And I almost just wish that like Pip would have caught on the way that I think she would have caught on, because then she could have worked off of that information. And I think that that would have actually been more interesting, because I don't think that this is gonna like affect some of the other plot twists, but I don't know about this. I could be wrong. Maybe like this is getting set up. Maybe I'm completely off, but I don't know. Hi, literally 2 seconds later. No, that has to be a red herring. Very interesting. Things are happening. We have another huge mystery that just got introduced. Excuse me, Miss Holly Jackson. We only have like 60 pages left. And Dorothy is here. We're getting some answers to questions that I completely forgot we didn't answer in the first book. It's like things that are easier for you to forget, but then when you realize that like we never found out about, you're like, oh my God, this has so many layers.
Everybody loves cakes. Cakes have layers.
I was feeling for you until I put 2 and 2 together. Oh my God, she does not hold back. We are getting a nice lesson in CPR. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my God.
This is making me tear up a little bit. I was not expecting that. I finished this. It was so good. Holly Jackson does nuanced characters and the conversations that we have around nuanced characters so well. I sometimes hate in YA that it can feel like, especially with the main protagonist or the people that you're supposed to love, they have like no flaws. They're like they're supposed to be so likable that they're like perfect and they don't feel like real human beings. And then the villains or the bad guys or the people you're not supposed to like have like no redeeming qualities to them or very few. And I love how well she shows what it's like to be human and that no one is perfect and that no one is inherently all good or all bad. I love those kind of characters so much more than I like a perfectly likable character. I still think that the first one is my favorite. I think I'm gonna end up giving this one like 4.5 stars. It was still so good. There was a little something about the ending that I didn't agree with how it was handled, but it didn't affect my enjoyment of it. But I will say, for pretty much the whole time I was reading this, I was like, okay, this is a solid 4, but it bumped up to a 4.5 because of the conversations we have around PTSD. I understand why we don't have these conversations a lot in like mystery thriller books, because they're supposed to feel a little bit unrealistic. And a lot of times I feel like authors think that that would take away from the story, but the way that we talk about like how being in the middle of all of this shit would affect you as a human, like Pip has been in the middle of 2 murder investigations / missing persons investigations, that's gonna fucking have some effects. And like the trauma from the things that you've experienced and how you don't just like get up and be the same person and not have some psychological impact. And I love that Holly Jackson is including that in these books, and especially here toward the end. So good. I love that. And I feel like now that's gonna be something that I'm looking for more in my mystery thriller books. Today has been one hell of a day. So I think that I'm tapped out. I am very excited to start the 3rd and final book. What is this? As Good as Dead. This one is like a thick one. This is a thickum. Ooh, and this is duct tape? But I have a feeling I'll probably be starting that tomorrow. I am, however, I think gonna bring this to bed just in case I decide I want to read it, and because I want to check out the audiobook from Libby, the one that I have that I think might be the UK edition, and see what that is like and if there's a difference and if I can listen to that along with this one, or if I need to buy the like American audiobook version. And if there is a big difference, I'll report back. I'll let you know, but probably in the morning because your girl is done. Okay. I'll see you then. Do I have a smudge on my camera? Oh no, I think it's just the way the light is showing. It is a new day. Hopefully March is better than February. I am so glad that I saw that video where Meg talked about how this is originally a UK publisher and book, and that it was adapted to fit the US, because she's right, not that we ever doubted it. The audiobook is definitely different from this one in ways that you would expect, like locations, but then also like phrases and differences in like UK English and US English that I didn't even realize were a thing. I'm struggling with whether I want to just listen to the UK version or if I want to get the audiobook for the US version. I feel like it's worth it too, because like I love getting to hear how this narrator narrates like Pip and her dad and the different characters, but it's throwing me off so much because I've already listened in a very short amount of time, the last 2 days, and now we're going into a third of Pip and those people sounding a very specific way. So now for them to sound different and for the intonations and the inflection of their voice to be different, it's throwing me off. But I just feel like it'll probably be worth it to get the US version. And I'm loving how Bailey Carr is narrating those. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm done with editing for the day. I had to edit and refilm a lot of different things, but onwards and upwards, as the great Moira Rose would say. This is definitely the longest audiobook by far. The first were about 10 hours. This one is 15. And I listened to it on like 2.5 times speed, depending on if I'm reading along or if I'm just listening. But I feel like that leaves a lot more room for some wild things to happen. Oh my God, poor Pip is going through it. Are you going through it too, Oliver? Yeah. What's your plan? I have literal goosebumps from how fucking angry I am and how much of a badass Pip is. I'm only 16 pages in and I'm already fucking fuming and like, I wish that I could tell you what it is, but if you know, you know. Okay, this one is already starting off like a lot darker and more like fast-paced, or just like the stakes are a lot higher. I mean, the stakes were high in the first two, but it's just a different vibe than the first two, but I really like it. It's hard to talk about in that context because Pip is going through it. Like, she's really struggling with the things that she went through in the first two books and the trauma that has left, and trying to cope with feeling like people don't understand because they can't relate to what you've been through and how you're feeling and the nuances of how you're feeling, and feeling wrong for how you're feeling about what you went through and how things were handled. I'm talking in very vague terms to try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. And I think that the synopsis does a pretty good job at the fact that it's the third book in the series, but it doesn't really give anything away from the other two. But I just feel for her so much. And we're having a lot of conversations about how you cope with really hard things and how healing isn't always linear. Healing is never linear, really. And how isolating that can feel. Even when you have really supportive and loving people in your life, it can still feel like you're really alone. Oliver is here with me because he always feels like he needs to be the center of attention. Don't you, my sweet boy? Oh, there we go. Say hi. Dory is over there sleeping. Oh, I got some foundation on the book. It's the next day. I just started reading the book a little bit more and I'm already infuriated for Pip again. I'm infuriated for a lot of people, but especially Pip. So Pip, as she does, has put in the most work to do the police's job. And she is trying to come to the police and be like, hey, something is not right here. Here is all of my evidence, including graphs. And of course, no one wants to believe her. The police says, of course, this is all unfortunate, but this is the kind of thing that happens when you make yourself a public figure. She says, make myself a public figure? Pip stood a step back. I didn't make myself a public figure. That happened because I had to do your job for you. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes. And I think already in this book, especially kind of tying back to the events toward the end of the last book, we're really taking a look at like the themes of not believing women, not believing people, and especially this dichotomy between people wanting to believe that they're the kind of person that someone could rely on or could vent to or could be very honest with when they're going through a lot of things, but then how sometimes our behaviors don't match up with that. And I was not expecting at all for this series to have these kind of conversations. So I am loving this. And now I feel like my standards for like political discussions in mystery thriller books has just gone way up. And now I'm like, where am I gonna find more things like this? So if you know of any other mystery thriller books that have discussions on like the police, rape culture, consent, mental health, PTSD, those kinds of things, let me know. This is exactly my point. He says, are you getting help talking to someone? She says, I'm talking to you right now. I was asking for your help. My mistake. I should have known better. It wasn't so long ago that we were standing in a room just like this and I asked you for help. You said no then too. And look where we all are now. Listen, I didn't think I'd really give a single shit about the romance part in here. And there's not a lot of romance, but what is in here It's so endearing, and the love that they have for each other and the way that they show up for each other, I love it. So it's not a huge aspect of this, which I appreciate because that's not what I'm here for, but I do appreciate that the times that it is, it doesn't feel like it's just thrown in there to have a romance. Like, it feels solid and important and supportive and healthy. Really hope that I don't live to regret saying that, but so far, I'm glad that it's handled the way that it is. Oliver will be submitting a formal complaint. Excuse me, I can't see the book and the camera cannot see me. Oh, perfect. Yep. Yeah, great. Right there? Okay. This is what happens when you have a cat raised in quarantine. And then once again, we have Dory over there just minding her business. This is every day of my life. If I'm right about where this is going, holy fuck. I so hope that I'm right. I hope that this is the direction that this is going. Oh wait, I think what I thought that it could be wouldn't even be possible. So possibly never mind on that one. I'm already forgetting about some things that have happened, but possibly scratch that. Oh shit, I might just be right. We're profiling, learning about serial killers. I'm excited. One thing I am loving about these sequels so far is how great of a job Holly Jackson does of like leaving little mysteries, questions, Easter eggs that go unanswered that you don't really realize that weren't wrapped up yet, and then bringing them back and like getting some of the answers, but then that usually just leads to even more questions in like the second and now the third book. Things that like I was like, oh my god, I forgot that we didn't know this or we were trying to figure this out. So good. I love that you can see all of the evidence that like these pieces have been getting put into place since the beginning. There is this paragraph in here where she is like summing up just all of the unhinged and chaotic shit that has happened and like all of the connections between the people, and it is very much giving me Mike's Mike with the Pretty Little Liars board. And it really just highlights how fucked this town is and all of the people in it and their secrets. If you liked Pretty Little Liars and you haven't already read the series, read it. Like, it's not the same, and again, I haven't actually watched Pretty Little Liars. Well, I watched like one season, but from what I could tell, it has those same vibes. And it also very much shares in common with the shoddy police work at really the like center of everything. I think I was wrong about that, what I thought the plot twist was gonna be, but that's only because what the plot twist I think was in my opinion so obvious that I didn't think it would be that. But now that I think that this plot twist I didn't think it was gonna be because it was so obvious is the plot twist, now I think I do know where it's going. That is like more twisty. Because we're only halfway through the book, so I'm like, something else big here has got to happen, right? I hope so, because if this is the big reveal, I'm gonna be really disappointed. But so far, she hasn't let me down yet, so I'm keeping hope alive. Oh my god. Yes, 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 yes. This is so good. I'm so excited for her, but also so fucking nervous and worried for her. This is not good. So I totally understand why some people don't like this, because it very much is different from the first two. It goes in a completely different direction, but this is amazing. I was a little worried after the second one that like it was gonna peak at the first and that the other two were still gonna be really good, but just not as good. I love this direction.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
And it's not going in a direction that I thought it was going to go. I don't think. And I was a little upset about that at first, but now I'm on board. Okay, I'm getting a little bit nervous because we have like, the pace has changed a little bit and we're moving on. Again, we're running into this thing where this happened, I think in the second book, right? Where some of the things that were happening and the way that Pip was reacting to the situation she was in, it felt not true to her character. Because for how like attuned she is to things, and especially like the way her character progresses in this book, the things that she believes and how she acts with certain people have been very consistent up until now. So it feels very much like she's making decisions that move the plot in like the way that Holly Jackson wants it to, or like the plot twist that she wants to set up, things like that, rather than actually being true to her character. And since I'm such a character-based reader, like I can suspend disbelief for like a lot of the things in this, right? Like I don't mind the fact that like this is very over the top. The whole series, you kind of have to suspend disbelief that like as a teenager who's going to high school, she's gonna be able to do these things and like get people to admit to things and run this like whole system where she's able to figure all of this stuff out. But when we've set up such a clear idea of who Pip is, and then she so goes against that for no logical reason. I'm like, this just doesn't feel true. It feels very convenient. So I'm hoping that this doesn't just keep going downhill because it started off so strong and now I'm a little bit nervous. Holly Jackson, don't do this to me. I believed in you. I need you to pull through here. Yay. Yes, I am and have been just wearing a bra, but I feel like if you've made it this far, we're on that level. I wear this as like a shirt all of the time during the summer. I don't know why I'm just now justifying this to you as if I haven't had this on in multiple clips. Literally already the best purchase I have ever made has been this pop socket that has chapstick in it. Is the chapstick amazing? Debatable. But is it amazing when you need it and you're in desperate need of it and you don't have any chapstick around, which is exactly the point that it serves? Yes. Okay, listen. No one is more upset about this news than I am. And hear me out. I was going through on Goodreads and like just looking at reviews, seeing how people felt about this. Overall, this still has fantastic reviews. Overall, the consensus is love it. But for the people who rated it 1 star, who I'm guessing if you've made it all the way through the series, you liked the first 2, I was trying to see what it was that they did not like about them. And anything else? And the conclusion that I came to is that most people could tell that they did not like where the book was going about like halfway through. Around the time that I was like, I'm not sure about this, but then I got on board. That's where most people, they've already jumped ship, they're off, okay? But for me, I got on board with that as soon as I accepted it. I was like, okay, you know what? This is kind of interesting. This is very different than where we've been going with it, but you know I love when things get unhinged. So I was like, perfect, I'm in. He's in the blinds. Literally in them. Moving on. I wasn't upset about this until probably like there was only like 50 pages left of this book. And the main reason for that is, like I said, I feel like it fell into what we saw with what I saw and felt, I'm not speaking for everyone else, in Good Girl, Bad Blood, is that there were decisions that were being made or ways that Pip was reacting to situations that felt like a plot device. Not true to her character. This, I actually like the direction that she was trying to take the ending. And I like where she was trying to go. And if it had done it successfully, this would have been probably like one of my favorite books. But my issue with it is that even though I could see where she was going and I was like, yes, get us there, I feel like, in my opinion, I wish she would have taken a little bit more time to figure out how we were gonna go from where we were to where she wanted the story to go in an effective way that felt true to the character that she had turned Pip into and the character that Pip had grown into. Because we spent literally this whole book really with a lot of character development from Pip. So if you're going to do that, the way that you end the book needs to make sense for her character. And in my opinion, it didn't at all.
That's my opinion!
And I'm not even talking about the Pip that we see in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because this Pip and this Pip, not the same, okay? So that's not what I'm upset about. I'm upset about the fact that this Pip that we spent the whole fucking book building up to, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. And I wish that I could talk to you about why, but I respect that this is spoiler free, so I'm not going to, but I just want someone else to let me know if you felt the same way. And if you loved this, I get it. Okay, I totally get it. And I want to be you so badly because I loved the direction that this actually went. I just wish it would have been done a little bit better. The reason that I'm a little upset about that is because I almost just wish that this was a standalone, and that makes me so sad. The best part for me about series is that usually it's the second and the third and beyond books that do so well for me because I am such a character galley that I need that time to fall in love with the characters. So the fact that the first one was the best for me and then they fell, like this one didn't fall flat, but like it was a 5 and then it was a 4 and then it's, this is what's so tricky for me is that most of this book was 5 stars, but because of the way that it ended, but was most of this book 5 stars? The first half of this book was 5 stars. Next 35–40% of it was 4 stars. And then it just like, it was like, and then we kind of started to taper off. Well, and then we tapered off. Then I was like, okay, I kind of see where you're going. Then it kept going and kept going. And I was like, okay, we need to turn this train around here. And then she was like, oh, you mean crash this train and burn it to the ground? Perfect, will do. Do I regret reading these? Absolutely not. I had a fun time. I think that like for a YA mystery thriller series, and I don't say that as like meaning that YA is any less than adult, because I don't think that at all. It's just that I usually don't expect as big of like plot twist and for it to like go there with those just because of like the nature of YA. So this was incredible. Especially this first one. I loved it. I had such a fun time. This was the perfect thing for me to kind of like get out of this rut that has been the last week and a half of my life. So I'm very glad that I read this whole series, and I'm glad that I read them back to back because, I mean, we all saw that how lost I was with the characters, even with my character map and reading them all in order. Can we imagine if I had taken breaks? No. I think I would have ended up DNFing the series. So I am glad that I read all of them. For my rating for this last one, this is subject to change because I have not been sitting with this for very long. Excuse me. We've played this game before and I am not here for it. I know how this ends and it's not good. You are not a fugitive being held. Get down, please. He grips on like his life is at stake. Oh, I still haven't given you a rating for this third one. I'm gonna say tentatively at 2.5 stars because even though I did like the majority of this, I don't feel like because of where it went and how it was done, I didn't like the book now. I have a bad taste in my mouth for it. So giving it like 3 stars, no. So that leaves us with a 5-star, a 4-star, and a 2.5 tentatively star. Thank you all so much for joining me on this experience. What a roller coaster of a time this was. If you made it all of the way through, put like a a magnifying glass, or some sort of like a detective type emoji down below in the comments to let me know you made it all the way to the end of this video. And if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing, hitting that thumbs up button. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Remember when literally 2 seconds ago I said I know how this ends with Oliver? Yeah, it's never ended quite like this. This is a good visual representation of my week.